Recorded Books presents Beats and Blow by Shaun Sinclair. Narrated by Dylan Ford. Beats and Blow. Prologue. The man dropped to the shiny tile floor and banged out a set of push-ups. His sinewy arms flexed, and beads of sweat dripped from his torso. The brand-new AirPod stuffed into his ears blasted a thumping hip-hop beat with a Middle Eastern melody. As his body slowly rose and fell to the floor, he closed his eyes and hissed lyrics to accompany the beat invading his eardrums. He pushed the floor until his arms became spaghetti. Then he collapsed with his chest heaving. Once he reined his breath in, he rolled over, sat up, and picked up the phone from the floor. He exhaled his angst as he checked the news feed once again. The wire was ablaze with rumors of his status. Imprisoned rap mogul due in court today for bond hearing. Founder of the Deadly Crescent crew to face the music and RICO allegations. It was all good just a week ago. Rap mogul faces bankruptcy. He rolled over to bang out another set of push-ups. As he pressed the floor, he addressed each headline in his head. He had a lot riding on the bond hearing today. When he was initially extradited back home to Carolina, they had denied his bond. Because he owned multiple homes on several continents, they deemed him a flight risk. For months, they had him on ice, refusing to hear any motion his high-powered attorney filed, denying him access to the courts. Now, they finally allowed him a crack at the system. And by all accounts, his nightmare was coming to an end. This wasn't his first foray into incarceration, of course. Years ago, when he was still a youth finding his way, he was sent upstate to do a bid. However, bidding as a thousandaire was different than bidding as a multimillionaire. Pulling time as a nobody was different than pulling time as a somebody. Before, he was a squirrel trying to get a nut. Now, he owned the forest. Still, no matter how high he climbed, there were certain factions that wanted to see him chopped down to size. Founder of the Deadly Crescent crew to face the music and RICO allegations. He read the headline again and chuckled. Someone had a sick sense of humor. His whole career, he had to fight to escape the stench of the streets. It was well known that he had founded his record label with dirty money. However, the gift and the curse of street cred was that to the streets, you would forever be a hero. To the world, you would forever be a suspect. He had beat the odds before, and now he was eager to battle them again. His phone buzzed to life in his palm with a familiar number. This was the only number that could snatch him from his military mindset. He smiled and answered the phone. "Hey, my love, are you okay?" Lisa Ivory sang into the phone. Her voice was just as vibrant through the receiver as it was when she serenaded millions on stage. "Today's the big day. You're coming home to me, baby." He allowed himself a slight smile, although he wasn't as optimistic. He was in bid mode, and the quickest way to depression was to set your expectations outside of anyone's hand besides your own. Still, he had to save face for his wife. "Yes, baby, talk that talk," he joked. "This shit is almost over, and I will be there soon enough." I can't wait." He could picture her beautiful smile through the phone. "Me either." Lisa took a heavy sigh. "Baby, I have some news that can't wait until after court. It's about business." The word business switched his mental gears immediately. At the time he was arrested, he was negotiating a billion-dollar deal. In his absence, his wife had stepped up to the plate to keep the show on the road. But his wife wasn't the shrewd businessman he had become, and in his absence, some of the plans had derailed. It seemed his new business partner in his new venture, Liam Cohen, was clashing with his old business partner and comrade, Doe. His wife, speaking on his behalf, was struggling to keep it all together. "I need for you to have a word with Doe about Liam. Liam is trying to push through with Wave, but Doe is fighting him. Lisa explained. What's the problem? Money, more money, more money, she said, exasperated. It's always about money. Lisa was beyond frustrated. She wasn't cut out for this life. She was an R&B starlet, not a business titan. She was in way over her head, trying to wear her husband's crown. I mean, what's the problem? We're straight on the money, right? Nah, not really. What you mean? I mean, things came up, baby. Taxes on the homes, the cars, maintaining the other businesses. It costs to live this life. And with no real revenue coming in, things got tight really fast. Quest nodded. He understood more than she ever knew. So what exactly is Doe doing to help? Doe has his own family to think about. And to be honest, I think he is second-guessing the decision to invest in Wave. Nearly 6 months ago, we dropped all that money and nothing yet, baby. Can you blame him? Look, Doe know what it is. We just have to ride this out and trust the process, he assured her. But what do you think, though? This was a billion-dollar question. Was she still all in, or was she looking at the front door? Was she his ride or die, or was she plotting to fly? I trust your word. I always have and always will, she assured him. Just before he could respond, he heard keys jangling. He tucked the phone away right before the guard opened the door. The guard peeked in. You ready to go, Quest? He called him by the name the world knew him by. Even inside, he still commanded respect. Yup, let's roll. Quest had seen it all, been through it all. Now, he was ready to face his music. Chapter 1. Wilmington, North Carolina. Malik Money pushed the button, and the cream top peeled back on his brand new Porsche 911. The sun poured into the coupe and the cream leather interior seemed to glow, contrasting magically with the matte emerald green paint coating the car. He revved the engine and peeked in his rearview mirror, adjusting the heavy chain around his neck. He pulled up beneath the awning of the Hilton and watched as the crown jewel of his heart strutted out of the plush hotel looking like a ghetto goddess. Keisha was wearing short jean shorts that clinched her thick thighs and cupped her camel toe in a vice grip. The tall Dior heels she wore made her thigh muscles flex every time she walked. And Malik Money loved the view as he admired the way her 38 double Ds bounced around inside her tank top. Keisha opened the door and sank into the leather seat in a huff. Them motherfuckers in there giving me a hard time, she complained, knocking on the door while I was in the shower and shit. I told them I was coming. Malik Money smiled and caressed her smooth brown cheek. Calm down, beautiful. Don't worry about them motherfuckers. They not on our level. Shit, I might buy this motherfucker for you, he quipped. Although he was semi-joking, he was nearly in position to do just that if he chose to. After executing his former comrade twin, Malik Money had stepped into his shoes to run the drug traffic for Wilmington. Little Malik had turned all the way up and got to the money, and his new name reminded everyone of his status. He was controlling the Crescent Cruise operation in the port city and had been well rewarded for it. In less than 6 months, he had imported a few of his soldiers from Vietnam and built a new line of young hustlers from Wilmington. Although they weren't as thorough as the old crew, yet things were turning out nicely. Malik Money pulled out of the hotel and cruised the city with the top down. As he drove, he caught the stares of passerby. In a predominantly white town like Wilmington, North Carolina, seeing a young black man pushing a drop-top Porsche was an anomaly. Rides like this were reserved for the people in the higher echelons of the city.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.